The case of Singapore, this notion of selling out is a rather interesting one because Singapore, unlike a lot of other countries in the world, is a very planned society. So the idea of its ability to retain its oriental or indigenous culture vis-a-vis becoming westernized or losing its heritage is in part due to the way in which the society is planned and organized. Unlike other countries, the embracing of the Western culture and the losing of the indigenous one is far more organic in nature.
So in the case, someone say that as a society, we are losing our cultural identity and values in an organic nature.
Well, I think the short answer is that as far as the races that are living in Singapore, Chinese, Malay, Indian, primarily, the traditional practices are very much part of our culture. So, in Chinese medicine, for example, food and medicine can be the same herb. So we take the same herb even on a daily basis as part of our diet. And yet when we're sick, the same herb can be used for curative reasons.
In Singapore, from a very young age, we are institutionalized with notions of retaining our own culture and identity. I mean, from the time that we are in nursery school or kindergarten, we are taught that there are four main ethnic groups in Singapore: the Indians, the Malays, the Chinese, and the Eurasians. And therefore, each culture is distinct, unique, and must be cherished.
And yet when we're sick, the same herb can be used for curative reasons. Of course, dosages may change, but there's such a deep acceptance of this practice that, in a way, we don't really differentiate where food and medicine divide.
Many in Africa have given up on traditional, generic foods for more urbanized, generically modified or often Western imported menus. These dietary lifestyles are originally responsible for many of South Africa's lifestyle diseases. Have Africans sold out to westernization in the name of modern development?
Are quite accepted.
But why do most modern-day Africans don't take their culture identity seriously?
For instance, if you take Singapore 30 years ago, the notion of preserving Singapore's past was not high on the agenda of people here. Again, if you think about Singapore as a nation, it was a colonial entity more than anything else. So even historically, it's always had this engagement with the West and this engagement with the globalized world. And yet it has managed to form a sort of a balance between the binary opposites of East and West.
To most urbanizing African communities, traditional, Indigenous knowledge systems have been rejected, mistakenly for witchcraft or backwardness. In such cases, the alternatives have been modern Western medicine.
By acknowledging that, times change and we need to progress, and, ask any Singaporean youth and they will name you a slew of American or British television shows and other cultural entities. But at the same time, I think Singapore, in terms of its media and in terms of its people, have always been very proactive in trying to adapt these Western values or these globalized ideas to a Singaporean context and making it available to people of all races, which is, once again, something unique about the landscape of Singapore.
Environment. Singapore is a very modern society. We look towards all the latest things that's happening. We want to be in the forefront of scientific knowledge and so on. And yet, people find time to look back at their roots and take comfort in this traditional, if you like, practice.
Is this a case of traditional knowledge sellout? Or complete lack of trust in African, indigenous knowledge and value systems?
You can say that the traditional practices are old, yet I think they fit very well into the sort of modern context.